So a while back, I made a video going over the recipe I used to affix 250 attack onto my new Rivalate weapons. It's been a while since that video, and since then we've actually gotten access to new abilities that we can affix, and we were all given free Rivalate weapons, so I think now would be a good time to show you my new updated recipe that'll give you better stats with only a little bit extra work. Now, if you haven't seen that video already, I am quickly going to go over the base recipe that we used in that video. However, if you're still confused after that, I would recommend going back and watching that video, because in that video I go over exactly what's going on more in depth and explain exactly how the base recipe works. So to get started, I'm going to go into Affix Assistant, but this time I'm actually going to use a version of it that has the global translations, and we're going to start by first creating the original recipe. Since it's a Rivalate weapon, we want Junk 5 and Junk 4. We're going to use Grand Might as our add augment item. We want Mana Reverie, Astral Soul, Might 6, Doombreak 3, and Mastery 5. We click Affix, we don't affix by upslotting, and as a quick summary, the way this works is we craft Mana Reverie, and everything else is a special ability factor. Click Confirm, and then we just gotta reorganize everything. Our special ability factors are not going to be on our main weapon. We want to put our Junk over on our main weapon, move Reverie Catalyst off of our main weapon. We want to keep Omega Memoria by itself, and we want Reverie Catalyst to be on all of the weapons that have special ability factor. And basically the way this recipe originally worked was you would get 4 weapons that have these as their special ability factors. Might 6 can be found on dim weapons, Doombreak 3 and Mastery 5 can be found on weapons found in the collection folder, and then Astral Soul can be found on Ray and Union weapons, I believe. After you have these 4 weapons set up to use their ability factor, in order to be able to use an ability factor, you need to get the weapon to the correct amount of slots, as well as level it up to 35. The hardest part of the recipe is going to be upslotting the weapons. Then you need to get Reverie Catalyst onto these weapons as well. In order to get Reverie Catalyst on these weapons, use the special ability factor of Profound Weapons. That means you're going to need to get 4 more weapons prepared to use their special ability factors. If we click Confirm, I'll show you exactly what I mean. We click Affix, and Reverie Catalyst is a special ability factor. Click Confirm. Might 6 is going to be whatever our main weapon was, and then Reverie Catalyst is going to be our Profound Weapon. Click Confirm, and it is a 100% chance to create this fodder. You would then do the same for these 3 weapons, and then you would just buy a weapon with Omega Memoria at 8 slots. You could potentially try crafting this, but at the moment you would save much more money if you just bought them, because you can currently get Omega Memoria already on a weapon as a drop. So that was just a quick overview of the original recipe, but before we go on to the new recipe I'm going to show off, I think I should mention suggestions that were given in the comments of the last video that I agree with. If we go back to affixing this, there is an ability called Phrase Decay. This inflicts 5% more damage on enemies affected by gelling. As long as you're playing with a team of players, there's a good chance that enemies are going to be affected by gelling. Normally the only case you have to worry about the enemies not being affected by gelling is when you're playing solo. However, if you're playing as a class that can inflict gelling, then this is still good for you even in solo play. And basically, people were suggesting that Phrase Decay is better than 30 attack because 5% more damage is going to be much more than just 30 attack. So what you would do is you would either switch out Doombreak 3 or Mastery 5 for the Phrase Decay. So switching that in, we click Affix, and it's the same process because Phrase Decay is also a special ability factor. Now we're back to the original recipe, and I'm going to show you what improvements I've made to this recipe with the new content we have available. The main thing we are missing from this recipe is a glare. Right now you can see that these are the glares available to us. The ones grayed out are not available yet, except for Varuna glare. Varuna glare is actually in the game. I'm not sure why it's grayed out. But the main 3 glares I want to point out are the Exegul glare, the Mitra glare, and the Varuna glare. The Mitra glare and Varuna glare are basically the same thing, except Mitra glare is going to give you 30 melee power and 30 ranged power, whereas Varuna glare is going to give you 30 melee power and 30 tech power. Besides the power, you're also going to get 20 defense, 20 HP, and 2 PP. So if we were to switch this in for, say, Doombreak 3, we would still have 250 attack, but our defenses have jumped up quite a bit, as well as our HP. We did lose 2 PP though, but 2 PP is nothing compared to what we've gained in stats. Now, I also mentioned Exegul Glare. This is only going to give us 20 attack, however, this 20 attack is going to be spread across all 3 stats rather than just the 2. Not only are we getting the 20 attack, but we're also going to get 50 defense. Now, we are not going to be getting the HP or the PP from the other two glares, but in my opinion, the amount of defense stats we're going to get from this is worth the sacrifice of 10 attack, 20 HP, and 2 PP. Now, you don't have to go for the recipe I'm going for. The original recipe for this is the 250 attack one with Mitra glare or Varuna glare, but in my own opinion, I want to try and go for the Exegul glare. This is going to drop me down to 240, but now my defenses are going to be over 100. Now, before we move on, I'll also mention if you wanted, you could also switch in Phrase Decay again. In this case, you would either switch it in for Might 6 or Mastery 5. Mastery 5 gives you 30 all, whereas Might 6 gives you 45 power. If I was to switch in Phrase Decay here, I think I would switch it in for the Might 6, which would unfortunately drop us down to slightly under 200 attack. But that's not the affix I'm going for. I'm going to go for the 240 Exegul glare recipe. I'm going to hit affix, and this is basically going to be the same as before. We're crafting the mana reverie. We're using special ability factors for the Astral Soul, Might 6, and Mastery 5. But the Exegul glare is going to require 2 Exegul glares. So now we just gotta reorganize this again, move our special ability factor off, put our S5s on our main fodder, move Reverie Catalyst off, put a Mega Memoria by itself. Now we just have to decide where our glares are gonna go. Since we don't have anything on our main fodder yet, let's just put one over here. And in order to make the recipe a little bit easier to understand, let's move the other glare onto our weapon that doesn't have an SAF. Now, you could technically put these glares on any of these weapons. I wouldn't recommend putting on the Mega Memoria one though, but just remember, you can put these glares on any of these weapons. It should be no different. So I'm going to hit confirm, and now we have our main fodder that we need. Fodder 1, Fodder 2, and Fodder 3 are going to be our SAF weapons. The way you make these are going to remain the same, you're just going to affix a Profound Weapons Reverie Catalyst onto the SAF weapon. The main things that are going to change though are the Exegul glare weapons. Let's go with our main fodder first. If we click affix, you'll see that we have a few choices here. We can either try fixing with just one glare, 2 glares, Divine Will in a glare, or Divine Order in a glare. You also have the choice of these as well, but I don't see any point in doing these. Now, I don't think we're going to use Divine Order, because Divine Order seems to cost quite a bit at 8 slots, at least on shift 4. Now, Divine Will, as of the recording of this video, is actually pretty cheap at 8 slots. Now, originally when I was making the weapon, I actually used 2 of the glares, which was kind of a bad move on my part, because the glares actually cost quite a bit. But if Divine Will costs more than the glare that you want, then you should definitely just go for 2 glares instead of the Divine Will and 1 glare. So whatever you pick here is really going to be dependent on the prices. At this point in time, Divine Will is really cheap, so I'm going to click on this. Click confirm. We're going to move our S augments onto our main fodder. We need 1 weapon with a glare, and we need 1 weapon with a Divine Will. Click confirm. So the first extra step for our recipe is just going to be having a weapon with glare and having a weapon with Divine Will, and affixing the glare onto our main weapon. Like I said, these 3 steps are going to remain the same, affixing a Reverie Catalyst onto our SAF weapons. And then we're going to have our second glare here. We're going to use a SAF for the Reverie Catalyst, as well as 1 Divine Will and glare again. Click OK. You'll notice here that we can actually have our main fodder be the Profound Weapon itself. So that's actually what I'm going to do. Then we just need a Divine Will and our glare. Click OK. So the way our 4th weapon is going to work is this is going to be a Profound Weapon, and we are going to affix its own SAF onto itself, while also affixing the glare with the Divine Will. Now, I will point out real quick that this currently says we only have a 50% chance. This is during a boost week of 10% though, so if we actually click that, this will boost it up to 60%, which we can then use a 40% augmentation aid in order to get this to 100%. Same goes right here, we can boost this up using a 40% and it's 100. Now, for the most part, this is the main recipe that we are going to be using. I'll be putting links to these recipes in the description, as well as the recipes for the other glares. Now, I'm actually going to go in game now and show you the final affix using the final fodder that we have here. But right before we do that, I actually want to talk about something real quick. As you can see here, only 6.8% of my viewers are actually subscribed to my content, which is mostly due to me being a new channel, but I really want to work towards growing this channel as fast as possible, and the more people that subscribe, the faster that's going to happen. So if you haven't already, I just ask you to consider subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate it. But moving on, let's jump in game and show off the Affix. So I'm going through my inventory real quick to show you all the weapons I have that are going to be used in this Affix. First we have the Rivalate soaring blades, which I just made, and I've upslotted them to 8, and I've also affixed Exegul glare onto it. Next we have our profound weapon. Its special ability factor is going to be Riv A catalyst. We have another one, and then we have this one right here, which is locked. The reason why it's locked is because this is the one that has Exegul glare on it. Next we have another profound weapon. Our dim weapon, if we check its ability factor, it is Might 6. Then our union weapon, its special ability factor is Astral Soul. And our millionaire weapon, its special ability factor is Mastery 5. Now, first we're going to fix our millionaire weapon. We are going to choose one of the profound weapons. And we just make sure that we affix Riv catalyst onto it. Next we have our union weapon. We're going to do the same thing. Select a profound weapon to affix onto it. Make sure we select Riv catalyst. And last we have our dim weapon. We're going to do the exact same thing. Select the profound weapon. And make sure that we select Riv catalyst. Then for our final affix, we click on my soaring blades. We click on our 3 SAF weapons as well as our profound weapon, and the last weapon is going to be the one that has a Mega Memoria on it. I select all the abilities I want, click Affix, and there we go. Now right here I'm just showing real quick, these are the new soaring blades and the stat difference. You'll see that we have a small decrease in our attack and as well as our PP, but we have plus 80 in all defense. So now that I've finished affixing my weapon, that's the end of the video. Let me know what you think of this recipe. If you found it helpful in any way and enjoyed the video at all, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to see more content. Anyway, I'll see you next time.